Can I just say I love that commercial?
I was just going to say that. That was really weird. You just took the words right from my brain.
Oh my God, we look so fabulous.
That's the best commercial. So I just want to move into our first topic. You know what? I want to start by saying that I'm really proud of like my profession. However, I'm not so proud of our healthcare system. I think it is so flawed.
Yes.
I mean, it really is just so damaged. And I want to talk about this broken system and how it's leaving thousands of Americans drowning in debt.
Yeah, I think that's so telling. I mean, like 60%, I think we read, of Americans are filing bankruptcy.
Yeah, for getting sick.
For getting sick. So they're having to basically choose, do I take my kid, do I take my son, my daughter to the hospital and risk going bankrupt and not being able to make my mortgage payment and to have a healthy kid? I mean, is that where we are in America? Is like the big thing, right? Like, as a nurse, I agree. I am so incredibly proud to be a nurse. I think that we do some incredible work just from being on the unit last night and touching the lives that we touch, and then to think about like how much it costs, like so many Americans, and that's something that's so American, right? Because I don't think that that's a situation in other countries, and not that I'm saying that other countries have great health care. I'm just saying, like, what's the balance, right?
Right. And we're supposed to be America with, you know, great advancements, and I wonder what, you know, these high costs and financial burden is going to cause for our life expectancy, because I feel like people are going to stop going to the ER in fear of their medical bills. I mean, I definitely think people are putting it off longer and longer, so they come in sicker and sicker when they have no choice because they're so scared of what the bill is going to be. They don't even, they avoid the hospital altogether, which is a shame because, you know, preventative medicine is a big thing right now.
Right, and you know what, we've known for so many years, right, that this has been going on.
Yeah.
And then like just 2 weeks ago, there was this video that came out, and I'm like, wow, it took this video coming out to really kind of like jolt us. So we're going to take a look at the video that came on CBS, NBC, ABC, one of those shows this past week, okay? Can we cut to the video?
Action for your health tonight. Just this week, we saw the price of a life-saving pill jump from less than $8 a pill to hundreds of dollars. It shed light on an issue affecting so many people, the financial strain medical bills often bring. ABC Action News reporter Ashley Yore helps explain how a devastating diagnosis can drain your bank account.
This hospital room is familiar territory for Hunter Swain.
It started 3 years ago. I was diagnosed with a different strain of leukemia.
Months of her 13-year life, she's been here, pencil in hand, battling 2 types of cancer, overcoming blood clots attached to tubes.
And they were all connected to an IV pump. And I had around 11 different medicines going at the same time.
Each of those medications with an expensive price tag.
The financial part never crossed my mind until I received that first bill.
Gary's paying for regular life expenses.
So yeah, that's enough of the video.
Bill.
I mean, it's heartbreaking.
So heartbreaking.
It's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
I mean, parents don't go in with the idea that how am I going to pay for this? Their first gut reaction is to say, like, hey, let me take care of my sick kid.
Right.
Let me get help. Let me go to the emergency room. And then when like they're admitted to the ICU and you're like getting a $5,000 bill per day, not including meds, I think that what it may be up to, that's when it kind of kicks in like, oh God, I got this 20% deductible or 20% copay.
Yeah.
And what is that like for so many already struggling Americans?
Yeah. It's actually funny because I was watching Dr. Oz, and he was even saying that he got a medical bill for something, and, you know, being in the healthcare industry, he couldn't even understand it.
Right.
So, like, how are lay people, you know, getting these bills so confused? It's very, like, wishy-washy, and they're never sure what they're paying for, or even know if they're getting charged, you know, righteously, or if they're just all different charges. But I want to say that this is going to have a huge effect on the upcoming election in 2020. I mean, the Affordable Care Act is still super debatable right now.
Right. I mean,
It's
so
a huge part of
like,
it.
say for instance, you know, Donald Trump is trying to repeal the Affordable Care Act, and so many Americans would lose health care, and the issue with the pre-existing conditions would go back into effect, where insurances can keep individuals from getting on insurance or enrolling insurance based on the fact that they had a pre-existing condition in order to cut costs. I think that's so incredibly telling. I mean, I don't want to say, and I think I talked about this a couple episodes ago, that who will do the right thing? Because, I mean, you used to would say, hey, I think the Democrats will take care of everybody, will implement a plan that's going to be useful for everybody, but I don't know. I think it's always politics as usual with them. You look at their healthcare plan, and they have some of the best healthcare in the United States. And I remember somebody making the comment, well, wouldn't you want your senator or your congresswoman to be able to go to see the doctor and not have to worry about the bill? No, I want Americans.
Yeah, just like everybody else.
Hello?
So they can understand the process. I mean,
Exactly.
if they're the ones writing the laws.
I hope that we come up with a system. And I know people probably like, well, nurses get paid well. Honey, for the work that we do, nurses ain't getting paid that well.
No,
no
way.
I'm not gonna shun my salary, because it definitely allows me to be able to do the things I want to do, go on vacation and all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, I think that the people who are really getting paid are, one, the insurance companies, because so a few years ago, the insurance company had to report the CEO salaries of what those insurance companies, and these people are making big bucks.
Yeah.
Not CEOs of hospitals are making big bucks. CEOs of managed care organizations, where you pay your premiums to, are making the money.
Healthcare is a business, essentially. Yep. So, do you want to talk about what's going on at with New Jersey's newly law?
You're the Jersey girl. You are the Jersey girl.
Let me take the lead with this one. So, New Jersey recently just passed a law that is making assisted suicide legal. So as healthcare providers, we feel some type of way about this. We definitely have an opinion, and it may be different than the rest of the general public, that's for sure. But what I liked more about it is that it's really in the hands of the patient, so it does take the pressure off the nurses and doctors and everybody else. So, because when I first saw that, I was like, how is this going to affect me at work? Is this something we're going to be involved in? It's not.
Right. Okay.
So they're going to have to, basically, let's explain what assisted suicide is. If you have, a chronic, if you have a predicted death in 6 months, so, you're at your end of life, and the doctors are giving you a very poor prognosis, you have the option now, and we are the 7th state, actually, to pass this law. So you have the option of taking medication that will help you, end your life. And it is something that they will be ingesting orally and administering themselves.
The doctors.
Or the patients. Actually, I don't know if it's orally, but they're going to administer it themselves. The patients do. Apparently, the doctors and nurses are not involved in that. The patients have to be able to be in the right state of mind. So it's not like what we were originally thinking, where it's their end of chronic life, where they are so disoriented. It's actually just you have to be oriented to make this decision. You have to be in the right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because when you look at it on its face, right, you think, oh my God, I can't imagine looking at poor Mrs. Jones' face as she takes her last breath, and I was responsible for giving that to her.
Right.
How do I sleep with myself at night?
Yeah. I
already at times have moments where where patients are DNR and their comfort care, and it's our responsibility to be there and wrap the body. And I already have moments where I found that traumatic, and to now knowingly thinking in my head that when you sent over this article, because you had been researching this, to read it was like, I can't do that.
Yeah.
I can't do that.
I was really like, whoa, what is this going to mean for us? Because, and as ICU nurses, we get people end of life a lot, all the time. So, that was something that definitely caught my eye when I was scrolling through the news. But yeah, that takes a lot of the pressure off. where it's
Right.
they have to be in total control of it.
Right.
So,
Oh my God.
yep.
Well, thanks for bringing up that article,
Sure.
Nicole, because I mean, it's definitely something that, you know, what we think about back to Dr. Kevorkian and
Yep.
how that whole thing played out and how America was up in a shitstorm because Dr. Kevorkian was supporting like patient suicide and blah, 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 blah. And then now it's not. So they're telling us that we got to go on. So we're going on to the conversation about, oh, yeah, you brought up the article about Phil Murphy, who is the, what's Phil Murphy's role in this?
He's the governor.
Oh, of New Jersey.
Yeah.
Oh, I still thought it was Chris Christie. I'm sorry, I'm behind.
I can
So
read you
sorry,
what he
Jesus.
said, actually.
Uh-huh.
He said that after, when he first, let me go back,
I
sorry.
love Nicole. Nicole has receipts. She's like, I'm going to read the receipts.
He wants to take the pressure off the nurses in the industry, was apparently his standpoint. He said, after careful consideration, internal reflection, and prayer, I have concluded that while my faith may lead me to a particular decision for myself, as a public official, I cannot deny this alternative to those who may reach a different conclusion.
Wow.
So he wants it in total control of, the patients,
Wow.
which is
It
nice.
sounds very empathetic. It sounds like it comes from an empathetic place as opposed to like,
Yeah.
let's go ahead and get them hospice care
Yeah.
and blah, 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 blah,
Right.
blah, 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 and the like, so that they can stop be a burden
Yes.
or whatever. God knows. God only knows, honey.
Yep.
Oh, Jesus, 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 Jesus.
What's
So-
going on at Vanderbilt?
Well, Vanderbilt is. So I thought Vanderbilt was like top notch.
So did I. They
I
were
was
supposed to
like-
be very prestigious and
Shit.
have the
I
top
thought
of
I
the
wanted to be
line.
a flight trauma nurse at Vanderbilt, and I was going to uproot my life and move
Yeah.
from New York City to Tennessee.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking they are practicing cutting edge medicine in
Yep.
Vanderbilt.
They're supposed to be one of the best hospitals in the country. So basically, what's been going on there is, first, one of their nurses, she was apparently pulled to the floor, not a typical nurse on that floor. She administered a lethal dose of vecuronium, which is a paralyzing agent, given to, calm the muscles and for patients who are on ventilators or receiving surgery. So not just somebody who was apparently, I think, just going for a radiology.
Exactly. She's going for a CT.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and it was like a CT or an X-ray or
Right.
something. She's totally awake, and this patient, she died, right? Yeah,
She
the
died.
nurse got charged with manslaughter.
Murder. They
murder?
charged her with homicide. The initial
Wow.
charge was with homicide.
That's crazy. Wow.
And that's like, okay, so if that wasn't enough, Vanderbilt had already had like many issues before
Yes.
that was like underneath the table that we
Right.
never knew about, right?
They're just coming to surface now. So.
Right. But a resident killed a patient while
Central
placing
line?
a central line.
That's crazy.
An
It's a very
unsupervised resident placed a central line that the patient died because, as we know, it goes into a major vein, and that's huge. And then now,
This is the biggest.
you tell, because I think it's just absolutely stupid that in 2019,
This should
that
not be happening.
That this even happens.
It just shouldn't be happening. That's the bottom line. I mean, this is like a never event. It's super rare. There are so many ways to prevent it. So what happened was the surgeon operated on the wrong kidney, and you only have 2 of them. So now she's on dialysis for the rest of her life.
Right.
She's requiring it,
Right.
long term. It's a shame. I think it had to do. I don't know exactly what the surgery was. Do you
So
know?
he was stenting the
Okay.
kidney. So he was supposed to stent one kidney, but he stented the wrong kidney. And now so they didn't even tell her apparently until after. They're like, oh, we got to go in and do the right kidney. And it's not like she's an idiot. She's a nursing assistant.
Oh, was she?
She's
I
a nursing
missed that.
assistant. Like, Jesus.
I don't even know what my response would be. What
Hmm?
would be your response to getting told that? I really am not sure.
Write me my check.
Like,
Run me my money. That's what I got to say. Run me my money.
me and
That's-
Dana on the way here.
I mean, $25 million doesn't.
We were just saying,
un-
would you rather? Like we were like on the way here, we're talking about the topics, and she said, would you rather, be on dialysis for the rest of your life or get that money? I was like, definitely not any of it. Like, I would not get a check to be on dialysis.
Right.
Like, there was no way.
I mean, $2 million will get you a brownstone in New York City. And brownstones are really nice.
I know, but
So-
would you dialysis every day? I mean,
Nicole.
that is a would you rather gem, isn't it?
That
makes you think.
That's some money. That's some serious money. And if you grow up as a poor black boy, honey, you come into $25 million, you start questioning life. You start questioning life. Okay.
Well, what do you think about, going back to that, though, how do you think about the fact that this nurse now has a murder charge? I mean, do you think that criminalizing that, how do you feel? The ANA feels some type of way about that.
So I talked about this on the Nurse Doc show a few months ago.
Okay.
And I mean, I think they're right to charge her. I think they're right to charge her with homicide because I think that so many safety checks were missed.
Yeah.
And when have you ever?
I'm surprised she has even taken.
No.
How did she get back?
The question is, when have you ever in your life taken Vecuronium as a mistake for Versed?
Well, first of all, it says all over it, paralyzing agent, like in big letters, like all over it. I mean,
Right.
like high risk medication, like it can't.
Get outta here. She should be charged with murder. I don't think she should go to jail.
Yeah.
But I think she should be scared.
The ANA's concern was that it criminalizing it, it has an effect on reporting and process improvement, blah, blah, blah.
So let me tell you about the American Nurses Association.
Yeah, you were really a big.
Yeah.
I thought you were super involved.
I think nursing associations are nice. They're
Okay.
nice. They're nice to do, especially if they're free. But if you got to pay your money to be a part of these organizations,
true.
make sure they're actually doing the work that you're paying them for. Otherwise, keep your $200 in your little purse, in your little wallet, and go and march on Capitol Hill by yourself. You can send an email for yourself. You don't need American Nurses Association.
It's true.
So, I mean, that's just me. Moving right along, because I know how to spark it up a little bit. But
He does. He keeps it juicy on this show. So, Brunei.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, do you want to introduce this one, or do you want me?
Oh, you think it's just because I'm gay?
No.
So I think it's inhumane what they're doing in Brunei with the stoning. I think it's just. I mean,
it's horrible.
as an American, I think it's awful. But I want us to watch. I want us to watch the video because I think that's very telling and chilling. Actually, the story. So, can we go to that, Mr. Player?
A tiny Southeast Asian nation, Brunei, now the target of international outrage. This week, it will fully implement their plan for Sharia law, punishing adultery and homosexuality with death.
It's hard to think that just being who you are could get stoned to death.
George Clooney leads a pack of global superstars speaking out. He says Brunei will begin stoning and whipping to death any of its citizens that are proved to be gay. Let that sink in the onslaught of news where we see the world backsliding into authoritarianism, this stands alone. And from Elton John, discrimination on the basis of sexuality is plain wrong and has no place in any society. Both now urging the public to boycott hotels around the world controlled by the Sultan of Brunei, who defends his country's right to impose its laws. The government issuing a statement that says Brunei is a sovereign Islamic and fully independent country, and like all other independent countries, enforces its own rule of law. A transgender woman whose identity we're protecting fled the country to be able to live freely in Canada.
I just want my LGBT friends to be safe and, if possible, get out of Brunei. It's not a good place to have your freedom be taken away from you, your human rights not being there. It's a terrible way to live.
Shahran left Brunei after he says he was charged with sedition for criticizing the government. He hid his sexuality until he was safely in Canada. He sends this message home.
Stay safe, and please watch out for yourselves. If you feel that you're in danger, I made it out. You can too. I hate to be a...
So sad.
So sad.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, it makes you realize how much we take for
Absolutely.
granted here. And people be like, "Oh, first world problems, first world problems." Any world problem should not consist of you just being who you are and loving
Yeah.
who you love, and that be criminalized, and you have to either be in hiding or marry someone of the opposite sex just because it's acceptable. I mean, I think that, ugh.
This is a country too that has had a lot of problems with like human rights in the
Right.
past. I
Right,
mean,
women, gays. Like, who do you like? Like, who do you even like your own people?
but we have ties with this country, like for a will, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
we do. We do.
so that's a problem. I mean,
It is a
it's
big.
a huge
It is
problem.
a big problem,
And
especially.
I think that boycotting the hotels and the things that are here, it's not enough. Because I think we need to maybe cut ties with them.
I agree. I mean, I think we need to drop bombs. No, I don't think we need to drop bombs. I don't want to put that out there. Mark that from the record. I think that we need to draw a really big a really big line in the sand.
I think that's the
with
only way to
people
make
that
a
we call
huge-
our friends. And because if your friends don't support you, honey, then you need new friends. And maybe America needs new friends.
Yeah.
I think I don't know, and I don't know if our next topic was about the trash, but China has been helping us with our trash. So and China's no longer going to help us with our trash. So America, we need new friends.
We need new friends.
We need new friends, and trust me, being somebody who has gone through a group of good Judys in my lifetime, you need a new group of Judys that can support you.
New Judies.
New
We need
Judys
taking
for our trash.
applications.
So China is out. China is out, even though China now has possession of Korea. So
Yeah.
Korea now was returned to China.
Yeah.
What was it, last year or something like that? I mean, I think that I think that we need new friends.
We need new friends.
We need new friends.
I think the only way too to make a big enough statement is unfortunately economically. So we need to, stop doing business with these
Right.
people.
That
is
money,
motive
that
for
money. When they
everything.
get that check, you take that check.
Yep,
You take
exactly.
that check. People start acting right when you take their check. And
Exactly.
I am one of those people. If you want me to get to work, tell me you're gonna hold my check.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm like, honey, I'm on my way. I'm on my way because I'm gonna be at work tonight to get my check.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I
Definitely.
don't know. Did we have a video about this? Did we do a video? No, we didn't
Okay.
do a video. We didn't do a video about this. I apologize.
It's okay.
But yeah, so I think that the trash being piled up and stockpiled in the U.S. is a very scary thing because, I mean, at some point, it's going to be, in our river systems and
my
so
God.
forth. So I remember, well, I really don't remember, but I remember the stories about when Staten Island was like our landfill, right? And then they started taking the trash over to Jersey, right? So that's why they call it Dirty Jersey. And then maybe something else. Don't get mad at me, Nicole. Don't get mad at me.
you
You'll
know
do the
what?
research. But so we produce so much trash. Americans produce so much trash. We throw everything away.
I have to say though, I was kind of surprised to see that, that recycling was going down. Actually, I was surprised to see that because the Go Green and everything. I thought it was improving.
Right. So with
But-
Al Gore, we thought Al Gore's message about global warming was going to be.
Yeah.
About global warming was going to be taken seriously.
I guess it either wasn't, or I'm not sure what has, changed. I don't know.
I mean, I think that, as Americans, we want we like what we like. We're a very wasteful country. I'm wasteful. I own my shit. I own
Yeah.
that I'm very incredibly wasteful. Like
I could be Better.
And thank God I live in a dormant building where they actually separate our garbage, because I probably don't do a great job of separating my garbage. The porter does that, but yeah, I think.
Have you ever thought about what an impact it would have if the hospitals recycled? Have you ever thought about that? Because I remember one day somebody at work had, I guess it was like somebody that was new to the unit, or like just pulled there. I'm not really sure. She was new somewhere, but she had asked like our secretary, "Do you guys recycle here?" And I just never thought of it. Like, we don't. I guess I don't know why.
I don't know what housekeeping does, but I do know that we recycle. We recycle a little bit. We recycle sharps and regular. That's as good as it gets.
We can only, I don't know. I was just thinking, like, how big of an impact it would be if we did.
It would be a huge impact. But can you imagine
I don't think
nurses
it's
now being
possible.
responsible for the recycling? We're already responsible.
Can't.
Housekeeping doesn't clean up the fluids. We clean up the fluids. Housekeeping doesn't make up the dirty bed. They only make up the clean bed.
What am I saying? I take all of that I just said back.
Give us even more responsibilities, Nicole. Now I got to separate the plastics from the reusables, and then the gloves have to go in here.
One more job.
I will. You better give me double my salary.
One more job.
Oh my God.
I take it back. Let's just rewind. No, but I don't know. I think that do you think is to blame for the decrease in recycling, though?
I think that we just don't talk about it no more.
That's what I mean, because like I said, I was surprised to see that it was even a problem. I don't remember that ever being out there, like on the news or told to us.
I think we stopped having the conversation.
It like blew up, and then it.
Right, and I think that's part. I don't want to just blame it all on the administration. I think when administrations come in, they make certain things like a priority, right? Like they make healthcare a priority, and they make other things a priority. I think the Trump administration has not made it a priority, and I think that is one of the big part, right? And so if you don't have funding to the organizations that have voices that makes us aware about advocating for recycling and for that, then it stops being in the forefront of your mind. You just start going back to normal behavior, right?
Yeah.
I mean, isn't it just natural?
Yeah, I guess so.
Right.
So here we are on the nurses speaking about it.
Speaking about it.
Getting it back out there.
So we got the cue because we're going over time.
Okay. So let's talk about Joe Biden.
Old man Joe.
Do we have a video or anything for this one?
We do have video.
We have the
tweeted video of Joe Biden. So let's go to the tweeted video.
Just in, former Vice President Joe Biden has tweeted out this video response to the accusations that have come out in the last week that he's made some women feel uncomfortable. And so here is the video in full.
In the coming month, I expect to be talking to you about a whole lot of issues, and I'll always be direct with you. But today I want to talk about gestures of support and encouragement that I've made to women and some men that have made them uncomfortable. And I always try to be, in my career, I've always tried to make a human connection. That's my responsibility, I think. I shake hands, I hug people, I grab men and women by the shoulders and say, you can do this. And whether they're women, men, young, old, it's the way I've always been. It's the way I've tried to show I care about them and I'm listening. And over the years, knowing what I've been through, the things that I've faced, I've found that scores, if not hundreds of people have come up to me and reached out for solace and comfort, something, anything that may help them get through the tragedy they're going through. And so it's just who I am. And I've never thought of politics as cold and antiseptic. I've always thought it about connecting with people. As I said, shaking hands, hands on the shoulder, a hug, encouragement. And now it's all about taking selfies together. Social norms have begun to change. They've shifted. And the boundaries of protecting personal space have been reset. And I get it. I hear what they're saying. I understand it. And I'll be much more mindful. That's my responsibility, and I'll meet it. But I'll always believe.
Okay. I pulled my mic out. I pulled my headphones out and didn't hear myself.
I'm blind,
that's why I was
so
that's why you saw me looking like, what the hell is going on?
I was wondering a little
So
bit.
he kissed the alleged person alleges that he kissed her on her head, and that made her uncomfortable. Joe Biden feels like Joe Biden looks like my granddaddy.
Do you think he's just
God
like
rest his
scared that like it's gonna like, I mean, with all of these like accusations that are coming into the line, I mean, because that seems kind of silly to me, a little bit. The forehead?
The forehead.
Like, why is he even wasting his time making a video like apologizing if that's all it was?
Again, because I think I think we've gone like as a society, we've gone like to the far other side, right? We want to be thoughtful, we want to be empathetic, we want to think about what our gestures mean to everybody, and how that could potentially offend someone. And I think that it has put a lot of people on the defensive, while at the same time it's brought a lot of criminals to justice that have really done some really heinous things. I think Joe Biden's, I think this allegation is a joke.
Yeah, okay.
I mean,
I just want to make sure I was not missing something with this, because I'm like, this seems rather silly. I mean, a kid's on the floor, like you said, he's like a little grandfather.
He's like my grandpa. He's like my grandpa. And I'm just sad. If any of you would have a problem with my grandpa kissing you on the forehead,
that's like ridiculous.
You've really gone just way too far.
You've
really gone way too far with my grandpa. He doesn't mean it. He's an old school teacher who speaks Korean. He was in the military just like Joe Biden. And
it's becoming a little absurd. We need to like pump the brakes.
It is.
Because, you know, now you're just making it kind of into a joke. Like,
well, honey,
when there's really serious situations.
Well, I want to pump the brakes on this story that came out. Because Wendy Williams.
Oh, Wendy Williams.
I thought we weren't going to talk about Wendy Williams in this 45-minute
But there was breaking news today. This story just got juicier.
Just too juicy. That came up. And the interview was so really gut-wrenching. Can we go to the interview? Please, let's go to the interview.
Now, this that happened to me. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but this demand letter entails and I have to say alleged because I wasn't there, an alleged sexual relationship going on between you and Wendy Williams' husband, who's known as Kelvin Hunter.
Well, it wasn't a sexual relationship. It was much more of an abusement relationship. It was much more of a put me down and keep me as your boy toy relationship.
But you guys did have sex.
We did. We did. Gave each other fellatio. He came over and practically raped me at 3:00 in the morning.
When you say practically rape, you explain like how something like that went down between Wendy Williams' husband, who has now allegedly been.
So what's going on with the video, guys? I mean, this is way too juicy. I mean. Are we going to watch the video? We're not going to watch the video today. So I think we got enough. We got enough of the gossip. We got enough of the gossip. And
this man, if this is true, this man is just horrible.
Kevin. Can we put the camera on me? Let's go. Kevin, what are you doing? What are you doing, Kevin? Kevin, you are making a mess of things. Okay, Kevin? And if you're listening, I need you to get your shit together. Okay? Poor Wendy is in Walmart looking a hot mess. Talking about she's going camping, looking a hot, holy mess in Westchester, New York, of all places to be, in the Walmart. And then she talks about, well, what am I supposed to be in a ball gown? Well, honey, right now you need to be like top notch because you're in crack houses in the Bronx. But you need to be like on your game. I don't know, Kevin. So divorce papers have been filed.
Finally.
I mean. Nicole, what do you think do you think this is affecting Wendy? I mean, because
yeah. Do I think it's affecting Wendy?
I
I think
it's affecting Wendy.
I think it's affecting Wendy.
I don't want to be the
Absolutely.
psychologist today. I don't
Is she still like having her shows? Because I thought they went back on and.
Then she went off because she's in the sober house. So
She's
the
on a
hiatus was
hiatus.
okay.
Still, I mean, I'm sure now. That's great. Wow. No, yeah, I feel for this girl. Honestly.
I know.
I feel for her. And I heard they don't have a prenup.
Right.
Actually.
So that's a part of the allegations is they don't have a prenup. Because one, I mean, Kevin has been there when Wendy was broke.
Oh.
So it's not like, you know, you would
Wendy's
have.
not broke anymore.
You would have thought, you know. So, like, say for instance, you know, if it was me, I probably wouldn't think about a prenup. Like, really, what do I have to protect? You know.
Right.
I think Wendy has gotten bigger than her wildest dreams.
Okay.
And unfortunately, you know, she's a girl from the hood. And you can't, while you could take a girl out the hood, you can't take the hood out the girl. And she's clearly, you know, still struggling with a lot of things.
I feel horrible. That's a
Right.
shame. Of course, I think Wendy is affected, for sure. To say the
How is she
least.
affected? How is
She's
she
affected.
I don't know.
Oh,
I don't
poor
know.
Wendy.
Oh, poor Wendy, poor Wendy, poor Wendy. And on to another issue. So we talked about our friend over at the Patriots just a few weeks ago. Robert Kraft. Another grandpa, by the way. Another one of my grandpa. But my grandpa don't go to like massage
This
parlors.
is not a kiss on the forehead.
That I know of. This is not. Yes.
This is
yes,
not
Nicole.
a kiss on the forehead.
Not
These
a
are
kiss
not
on
two
the forehead.
comparable things.
This is far from a kiss on the forehead. This
yeah.
is dirty sex parlor, Thai massage,
prostitution.
happy. Ooh. I like it. She says it's prostitution.
It is.
Yes, it is.
He
It's
paid for it.
prostitution. I mean,
It was on the day of like the championship game. Wow. We see where his priorities lied.
right. Let's go to. I want to play the video because he had a response for it, and finally, because we've been talking about this for a while, actually, because this is not new. This is not a new story. Just his final ability to accept, hey, you know, I made a mistake. So play the video.
Robert Kraft, the New England Patriots owner, caught up in a sex sting in South Florida, is speaking out today. The billionaire is apologizing in a new statement, saying this, quote, "I am truly sorry. I know I have hurt and disappointed my family, my close friends, my coworkers, our fans, and many others who rightfully hold me to a higher standard." Kraft is charged with 2 misdemeanor counts of soliciting prostitution, but sources tell CNN that Kraft will not accept a plea deal offered by prosecutors. CNN's Polo Sandoval is standing by with more details on this. Polo, what else is Kraft saying today?
Fred, this statement is significant. I'll tell you why. This is the first time that we're hearing publicly from the Patriots owner since the announcement by Florida prosecutors that they would be pressing these charges against not only Kraft, but at least 100 other so-called Johns. I'll read you more of that statement here where Kraft essentially apologizes. He writes, "Throughout my life, I have always tried to do the right thing. The last thing I would ever want to do is disrespect another human being. I have extraordinary respect for women. My morals and my soul were shaped by the most wonderful woman, the love of my life, who I was blessed to have as my partner for 50 years. Mr. Kraft referring to his late wife there. What is interesting here, obviously, is that this is coming a week after his attorneys announced that they would seek a protective order that would essentially block the release of the surveillance videos that police are considering evidence in this case. And this is also
I have one thing to say about that apology. I don't think he's really sorry. I think he's just sorry he got caught.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You know.
Like.
You knew it's not like a mistake, something that could be taken the wrong way, like the kiss on the forehead.
Right.
It's just like, I mean, he like intentionally, you know.
Right. And not just once, I think it was, Nicole. It was
I'm
like
sure.
more than once. I mean, I wanted to cry because, not being melodramatic, because that fake of an apology, you know, I feel like it speaks to my 50 years of marriage. Don't bring up your 50 years of marriage now and as a defense for your character and your bad choices.
I know.
You know, take ownership. Take ownership, because while he says that, he's also pleaded not guilty to the charges. That's the other part of that. he's still holding that he's not guilty, like Jussie Smollett. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about Jussie this week. But yeah, so he is saying, I apologize. This speaks, I think, very highly of women. But I went to a massage parlor twice and got a happy ending. I'm just still, caught up. I love the way that the news uses these very sensationalized words like John, that they call him John. That's some like ghetto hood rat shit.
What?
That
I
I'm
know.
calling
That
you
was
a
pretty
John.
I didn't catch that the first time.
I didn't catch that either the first time, but now that I heard the second time, I was like, you just called him a John.
That was just like a whole lot.
Like the back of a Bates Motel kind of like service, not a multi-millionaire owner of one of the biggest franchises in America, in the world, maybe.
Right.
Like to call him a John, like damn.
Wow.
Call him a pimp. I don't know. Okay. So
moving on.
So well, this is very Jersey, by the way. This is the Mormon thing is a very Jersey thing. When I was working in Jersey, actually, I had the biggest experiences with the Mormon community. Actually, I'm a liar. When I went to Missouri for 6 months, more so than here. So more so than in New York did I run into Mormons in Jersey. But of course, the biggest amount of Mormons that I ran into was in the Midwest, which is, I guess, rightfully so. So the Jesus Christ Church of the Latter-day Saints. I hope I'm saying it correct. They had been calling themselves LDS because, who else? I don't know. You don't live in New York City.
No.
But when they knock on your door, do you answer? I'm usually not home.
No, I don't answer usually. Well, so it's different though because I live in an apartment where they don't knock on my direct door. They have to ring a doorbell, and so I usually look outside and can see them from up. I'm on the second floor, so I'd have to walk down steps, and it's a process to answer my door. If I see that it's them, I don't answer. I don't answer.
Right. Right. So the Jesus Christ, so the people of the Latter-day Saints are now utilizing their whole name, whereas they had in some ways been abbreviating their name because I think also it carried a different kind of connotation for certain people. Okay. And I think we do have the video. We got the video, right? I think there was a video. So let's play this video. No, there was no video. Okay, so we didn't pull up the video because I was like, I think we were talking, me and the production assistant said that's just way too many videos. But the Mormons are changing their name to the Jesus Christ Church of the Latter-day Saints. Whew.
And it's
it
just
took
because
me 10
of
minutes to say that, by the way.
You think the I guess like the connotation in the image, I guess, of the Mormon names got? Like, what is?
I think what
the problem
people,
with it?
I think more so what people had attached to being Mormon. So we had like these preconceived ideas of what Mormons, how they practice, how they live, and at the end of the day, the truth be told, you couldn't tell a Mormon walking down the street if they didn't tell you.
Absolutely not. Which is why I was like, I don't know. I'm from Jersey. I think I know maybe one Mormon that I would never know was a Mormon.
Right.
Like,
exactly.
If I didn't, I don't know how I know, but I do somehow. But it's not by his, everyday behavior.
Is it biblically, you know him, that he's Mormon?
Yeah, I don't know how I found that out, but it's just something I know. I think he's probably said it once or twice, and maybe like the first time I was like, oh.
Right.
But yeah, they don't behave any differently. You cannot pick them out of the crowd unless they start getting into it.
Right. Well, I think that's big. I think that the congregation, the Mormon congregation, is going to take to it and be okay with it. I mean, I think in 2019, you got all this other foolishness, people being, open about this or talking about that. Why not own all of who you are?
Yeah.
Unashamed, right? And unapologetically,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Absolutely.
I just think it's been a really crazy week. And I know we said that we wanted to do a spotlight. And I think we have a spotlight on a person.
Oh, yes, we do. The 8-year-old.
Right.
Right? Yeah, so his name was Tani. Yeah,
Yes.
Tani.
Tani.
He
From
was a
Nigeria.
chess player from Nigeria. It's awesome. So he basically has been playing chess for a year, and he was crowned the champion, but he is a refugee, so it's a huge deal. So he's definitely in the spotlight this week. Shout out to...
He is our person of the
really
week.
is.
Definitely
He's-
our person
that's
of the
so
week.
cute.
And if you haven't heard the story, I got the video. We got the video.
Got the video.
So can we go to the video?
One of the country's newest and youngest chess champions is being praised for his perseverance through incredible hardship. Tani Adewumi is just 8 years old and only learned to play chess about a year ago. He and his family came to New York as refugees from Nigeria in 2017. Well, now Tani is competing with the best and the brightest in his age group with hopes of becoming a world champion. Vladimir Dutier of our streaming network CBSN is here with his story. Vlad, good morning.
Good morning. Tani grew to love chess after a teacher taught his class how to play. He asked his parents to join the school's chess club, and within months, there was no doubt he had a bright future in the game. Tani Adewumi has taken the chess world by storm.
It's deep thinking. You have to understand a lot of stuff.
Just last week, the third grader took down 73 of the best chess players in his age group in New York to win his division in the state championship, setting a record in the process.
I was the first to win states, my first state to ever go to and win it.
His intellect, his aptitude, his capacity to learn chess is off the charts.
Russell Makovsky is Tani's coach at his elementary school, PS 116. He says Tani quickly shot to the top of the class.
From not playing until beating the best in 1 year is unheard of, all while living in a homeless shelter.
You heard that right. Tani and his family are homeless. They fled northern Nigeria in 2017, fearing attacks by the terror group Boko Haram.
I don't want to lose any one of my loving ones.
His parents have applied for asylum and say, even without a place to call their own, they'll do anything to support their son.
We are grateful to God for giving us the opportunity to put him in a school that he can see his goal and get his career.
Yeah, I want to be the youngest grandmaster in the world and beat the world champion's record. Oh my gosh.
A lofty goal for the 8-year-old refugee. But if you pause just for a second to doubt him, well, he's already called checkmate.
Anything is possible. God can do anything for me. He can do anything for my family.
Wow.
As we were speaking to the family, an attorney called to let them know.
I just got the chills. I know.
Homeless.
That's
homeless.
Incredible.
And his family fled northern Nigeria and
8 years
are
old.
seeking asylum. And to not have a roof over your head and still be so optimistic, I think that's...
No, I know. I just got the chills over me.
Oh my God.
Shout out
that's
to
enough
Tani.
That's enough for me for this week.
Well, at least we ended on a positive note.
That's a very positive note.
Yes.
I mean,
Talked a lot of
a very positive
deep things today. So.
So, hey, thank you guys for tuning in. Oh, my God.
Thanks for joining
us. It's been
us.
another amazing show. Please, if you are watching this on YouTube, like, subscribe. Hey, we're just nurses trying to make it happen.
Subscribe.
Why not? Why not?
You know how the YouTubers they always are like, click
swipe up.
Subscribe.
We'll probably cut this out later. But, yeah, so, guys, we'll be back in 2 weeks. We love you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our girl, Courtney, our fallen soldier.
Shout out to you, Courtney.
Shout out to you, Courtney.
We missed you.
We miss you. And we hope that you get everything worked out and you're back on the set in 2 weeks. We love you. All right.
Bye.
Bye, guys.